Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and this is the Schrade 306 in 9CR18 MOV steel, which is pretty cool because, I like to see them using, upgraded steel instead of, crap steel. It has an aluminum body with a steel liner lock with a nice deep carry clip that is actually inset. Now, it does have button screws, and it also is a manual. There's no spring in this, and it is on bearings. So it actually has quite a bit going for it, but there is some downsides, and we're going to go over those. So first off, the action is pretty good. However, I had to oil it immediately. Right out of the box, it felt okay, but like dropping, it would drop down to there, and then I'd have to push it closed. As soon as I oiled it, it got right to super smooth. So if you get one of these, oiling it is a must immediately. Now, I like to use KPL, which I do have linked down in the description. They have multiple different kinds. I recommend just getting a heavy and the original. They have a light one, which is fine. It's just a little bit runnier. But the heavy is what you want on your detent ball. And the original is what you want on the bearings. Anyway, you could get by with just the original if you have to. But I prefer the heavy the most. Anyways, so access to the lock bar. Good access to the lock bar. Both sides gives you a little bit of access, so it's easy to get. Has a nice drop shutty action once you oil it. Now the detent is a little light for the flipper tab, but after oiling it, it's very easy to deploy. I would never misfire this. It would deploy every time, but I can fail it pretty easily if I want to. But that's okay. It's still very snappy, and I can tell over time it's just going to get better and better and better, especially the more the detent ball breaks into the blade. Now, the thumb stud action is where it's at. Great thumb stud action. Perfect detent for the thumb stud. It rocks out, and it actually has a cool sound. Now, the blade, a little bit robust, but, I don't really blame it. It still gets down relatively thin behind the edge, and it actually did come pretty sharp, relatively sharp out of the box. The grind is off from one side to the other, but for this price, I'm not that mad at it. This is, around $30, not a big deal, but yeah, it's a little off from one side to the other. Not a big deal though, but still slices just fine, and like I said, it did come with a pretty sharp edge. Their choil, you can see it's hideous. Yes, they put the plunge grind in front of the edge, so right there is an exact example of a smile. So every time you guys hear me say smile, that is a smile right there. And the more I sharpen it, the more it will get a smile, because this plunge grind ends at the edge or in front of the edge. So by default, this thicker part, when you sharpen it, it will not match up with this part because it's a different thickness. Now, the aluminum scales, a little slick, but not a big deal. They're comfortable. They're not powdery or anything like that. They are very smooth. The deep carry clip, I'm sure, works just fine. And then we have a FRN backspacer or G10 backspacer of some kind with a lanyard hole. Now, what are the issues? Oh, a regular stop pin, good size stop pin, nice strong lockup, no play, maybe a little side to side, but that's just a little turn of the pivot, and it's barely anything. Now, what are my issues? So I already said the plunge grind, and then now, after getting it out of the box and flipping it about 50 or 60 times after oiling it, it is almost at 100% lockup. How long will it stay there before it gets all the way over and the lock bars on the other side of this blade? I don't know. So that's where it becomes an issue, because it shows that it's not going to be long lasting. Now, there are some examples, like say the Ontario rat knife, right? The rat knives, the rat 2, and the Rat 1, they come with medium lockup, and they hold them for a very, very long time, and it only makes them stronger. So in this case, is it possible that it's going to last for a very long time right there? Yes, absolutely. But I personally like seeing my knives lock up about right there. right there is a good lockup for a brand new knife. And then over time, it has enough room to slide over, locking up stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. This one, being brand new and it already being at 80-90% lockup, that's a heavy, strong lockup. And yes, it definitely makes it to where it's going to be a little stronger of a lockup. So maybe that's what they're going for a little bit better. And with $30, I don't doubt that you won't get your money's worth out of it still. It'll last you long enough to get that out of it. And it'll be easy to sharpen. 9CR is a pretty decent steel for this money. Oop, I hit my tripod. But, you know, it'll last a long time. Or the edge retention will last a good amount of time for this type of price. It'll be easy to sharpen, easy to strap back, and it's stainless. So, now, I don't like this, the Schrade, you know, not really happy about the branding. It's not that big of a deal. Has a little bit of jimping and texturing in places that don't matter. But regardless, not a big deal. I notice I don't see the steel, though. At least I haven't. So they're not branding the steel on it at all. I do not see where it says 9CR, but it is a 9CR. So I wish they did at least say it on the blade. It'd make me feel a little bit better about it, but they don't. Now, all in all, oh yeah, also the centering is off pretty bad. Not, you know, not that big of a deal because, like I said, this is a type of knife that I think when somebody gets, they're planning on beating the heck out of it. And this is a great beater knife. It's heavy, though, too. Nice and heavy. So, decent knife, but for the money, I think a better option. For around $35, you can get a CJRB FELDSPAR in D2 steel, so it's going to hold an edge even longer than the 9CR. It's not going to be stainless, but you can get it coated. This knife also comes in the AR-RPM 9 steel for a little bit more money. You can get a RAT 1. This one comes in AUS-8, which is a stainless. It's a little bit less than 9CR, but they also come in D2. So for, I think, right around $40. For around $40, you can get the KUBEY Nova in D2 steel. And they have a bunch of different color options for this one as well. Awesome, awesome knife. Flipper only. Great sharpening choil, great fit and finish, great action. It is on ceramic cage bearings as well. This one's on washers. This one's on bearings. The GANZO FH21. Awesome, awesome option. This is like $25 or under. It's under $30. So even cheaper, you can get this one. Or even the CIVIVI PRAXIS. This is an amazing knife. Same steel, 9CR. It is a little bit more money, but they do a great job with their heat treat. Ergos are amazing. Lockup is nice and early, while also still being strong. Fantastic action, nice and slicey. One of my most recommended user knives, work knives, budget knives is the CIVIVI PRAXIS. So this would be one I would definitely recommend. A little bit more money, but still nice and affordable. All of these I can definitely recommend. Awesome options for around the same amount of money that I think would be a better option than this one. Now, like I said, this is a beater. So maybe you're wanting something with a little bit stronger lockup. Liner locks might not be the way to go if you're wanting something with a nice strong lockup, but the RAT 1 has an incredibly strong lockup. These guys are incredible beaters. They are workhorses, and yeah, this is a great option for a great workhorse of a knife. All the rest of them are still locked up really good, but when you're talking about having this type of lockup and it being very durable and being able to withstand some really heavy-duty use, and you want a liner lock, there's only so many options because liner locks are mostly for cutting, not necessarily hard use, but there are some options out there that have been tried and tested and are pretty strong. But anyways, I would go with something like a back lock or an access lock, a compression lock, triad lock, something like that. But these are all great options though, especially for a very affordable price. But anyways, there you guys go. Just a quick look at the Schrade 306. Also, shout out to the person who did request this. I appreciate him giving me a tip on checking it out. I'm glad I did get to check it out. This is probably one of the better Schrades I've gotten to try recently, so I am happy I have gotten to try it out. So shout out to the person that did suggest this, and there's your video, bud. Peace.